Let's go to Matthew chapter 16, verse 16. Christ asked his disciples, "Who do you say I am?" And they started telling him different things. Simon Peter answered and said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Simon Peter had a revelation of who Christ is, of who Jesus is. Out of all of them, God revealed it to Peter who it is that he's sitting with. Fast forward to the future. Okay, Jesus is in Gethsemane, he's in the garden, and he's about to be taken by the people who had come to arrest him. Judas just betrayed him. And what is Peter's reaction? He goes to war for this rabbi that he was, his teacher, his beloved teacher. I believe Peter did love Jesus enough to even kill somebody for him. But then what happens? Jesus says, "No, put away your sword." This authoritative Jesus who he had seen all this time suddenly changes and just lets them take him. I believe that shocked Peter. And standing there, he's telling them, "This is what I came for," and he just gives himself up to his enemies. And what happens next? Okay, when we go to Mark chapter 14, verse 66. Now as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with the Jesus of Nazareth." But he denied it, saying, "Neither I know nor understand what you are saying." In front of a little girl who did not have much power, she was a servant girl, she couldn't have done anything to him. Peter denied Jesus, even though he had a revelation. We're going to come back to Peter. Can we read Matthew chapter 26, verse 14 to 16? Then one of the 12, named Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What are you willing to give me to betray him to you?" And they weighed out 30 pieces of silver to him. From then on, he began looking for a good opportunity to betray Jesus. Another man, been with him since the beginning of his ministry, saw everything he was doing, saw the miracles, heard what he said. But what happened? He went to the chief priest and said, "What are you willing to give me?" While Peter's problem was that he only had a revelation, Judas' problem was he didn't realize the value of that revelation. He thought that 30 pieces of silver was better. See, Judas, everybody thinks that Judas had no choice. Judas did have a choice. It was his inability to see Jesus, the value, the preciousness, the beauty of him. His inability to behold this person that is standing before him that prevented him from having a different destiny. He chose to go to them and sell Jesus out because he didn't have a revelation of the value of Jesus. The end of that was that Judas, he lost all hope. He lost all hope and he went and hanged himself. The story would have been different if he followed Christ to the cross. Jesus loved him enough that even when he was on the cross, before the cross, after the cross, he loved people like Judas, he loved people like me, he loved people like you. And that is the truth. Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Salome. Now these women and John and those acquaintances that are standing at the cross, they had a relationship with Christ. They never left him. But he is up there now on the cross, promises not fulfilled. They're confused. They were following him thinking he's the Messiah, but things hasn't turned out the way they thought. In the midst of the confusion and the chaos, they still lingered with Jesus. They held on to that hope. They held on to him. Now Jesus died. He was buried. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so they might come and anoint him. What were they planning on finding in the tomb? A dead Jesus. They were planning on anointing him with spices. They were planning on keeping up with the tradition of honoring a dead body. He was not performing any miracles there. He was just lying there. You have Peter there, all broken, guilty, destroyed, damaged. All the other apostles, nobody knows where everybody is. It's chaotic. The sheep are scattered. But what do these women do? They come where they last saw their Lord. They come back to Christ. They come back to Christ. They keep coming back. And what do they find? And when they looked up and they saw that the stone had been rolled away. When they came, that stone that was preventing them, that stone which was their biggest worry at the time, it got moved. What is that stone in your life? Is it chaos? Is it confusion? Is it guilt? The moment you come to the cross, the moment when you come to that tomb, the resurrection power it rolls away that stone. All you gotta do is come. No matter how messed up you are, whether you're a Peter who denied someone who you knew, you may have denied him to yourself, to your family, to others around you. You may have betrayed him. You may have been up there with Peter and Judas messing your life up. Your safety, your salvation doesn't lie in your hands. It does not lie beyond the courtyard wall. It doesn't mean that you should leave the presence of the Lord. No matter what it is that you are in, come to the cross. Don't sit in that house, sitting like Peter, all broken, sitting there chaotic and confused. Be the women who came, no matter, even if he didn't do a miracle, I'm going to come. Why? Because I have a relationship with him. I anointed that feet. I know that he drove out those demons. I know he made my life better. I know he accepted me when no one else did. I know that he is somebody who has called out my children. I know he is somebody who's brought financial prosperity into my life when I had nothing. I know he is somebody who pulled me out of a pit of depression. I know he's somebody who's given me victory. I know he's somebody who's given me joy when I had none. I know who he is. I have a relationship with him. I have a revelation of him. I'm going to come to the cross. I'm going to come to that tomb and I'm going to watch that stone get rolled over out of my way, and I'm going to see my Jesus resurrected, powerful, living, victorious Jesus.